Hey everyone. Just wanted to make a quick-ish video. Had a few requests about going into a little bit more detail about startup costs to opening a pack and ship. I know some of my earlier videos kind of go over the whole scheme of opening a pack and ship store. So my videos going forward will kind of start to break things out and get into a little bit more detail. Um, if you've watched like my projections video, this really won't be too much new information. But I'm just going to start, going into just video will just be startup costs and like how much I spent, other options to, do it, open your own store, stuff like that. So let me share my screen and I am just going to be pulling up my projections template. I do have this for sale for $25. It's payable through Venmo or Cash App. And you can just email me at postalpros@gmail.com if you're interested in purchasing it. But basically all it is um, something I created where it caters directly to pack and ship stores. You can enter your startup costs, your inventory, what you're going to be selling, your costs and profit, revenue per unit per product, your expenses, how much you're going to pay your future employees. It formulates how much monthly sales you do for each of the products that you enter and show you your cost of each one as well by month. And then it breaks it out by year. We have some stuff here talking about different interest rates and state and federal taxes, loan calculator if you're going to be doing a loan, and at the very end, the most important part, it spits out a profit loss statement for the first 5 years of your business. So if you're interested in it, check out the video on it. I do go into more detail about the entire template as a whole, but this, we're just going to stick with a couple things I have put together to talk about startup costs. So let's dive in. Basically, what you see here is what I spent to open my store, and I can kind of dive into each one. So the store's lease deposit, so that's what my landlord required me to put down for a deposit on my store. It's usually in between 3 to 5 months rent that you'll see your landlord require as a deposit. It just covers them for any damages you might do to the store or so on and so forth, or any lack of payment, stuff like that. It gives them a little bit of a buffer and a safe spot to have that deposit, and it lets them know that you're serious about your store and starting your store in that space. Up next is leasehold improvements. So this is about how much I spent. My store is in pretty good shape. I would definitely recommend raising or lowering this when you see your store space and kind of get a better guesstimate of how much you'll need to spend just making the store look nicer as is before you start putting items in there. So basically what I did was just did a couple coats of paint. I had to fill a few holes in the wall to make it just look nice and flush. What else did we do? Trying to think. Added some security cameras. I was lucky. I thought I was going to have to buy a security system, like an alarm system, but there actually was already ADT installed in here. I just had to activate it. So nothing crazy there. New locks fall under leasehold improvement, stuff like that. So that was about what I spent. I definitely would try to tally up everything you'd want to do to your store, before signing the lease and just get a better idea. A lot of this stuff you might be able to negotiate with your landlord when you're signing your lease. They might be able to write you give you a credit for the items you're going to be changing in your store and stuff like that. So definitely ask them about that. Next is FF&E, which is furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Definitely the highest cost of opening a store because it's basically everything that you're going to be putting into your store to open. So for furniture, I really don't have furniture. I have a couple chairs. Fixtures is a big one. So I have you can see all these black industrial shelvings that are behind me. I also have 6 more in my back storage area. So those were pretty expensive. I have the totals down here. Where are we? 8. I got them for the price of 8, so that's what I put. They gave me a discount for buying in bulk. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 11 of them. I was only going to get 8, and then they gave me 11 for the price of 8, so that I still have it at my sheet. But it was about $2,000 after shipping and taxes for all 8 of those. And what's up next? Furniture. This is where things get tricky, and I wish I could give more information on you know, how much it would cost somebody to have a contractor come in and build out your store. I don't have that. I actually built out my store personally. So if you've seen some of my other videos where I show my store and how it's set up, I made pretty simple countertops, and they're very budget friendly. But I made them all myself. It was pretty easy to do. And then I also made the, where am I? There we go. The box storage that's back there too. I custom made that so I can fit as many boxes on that wall as possible without needing a ladder to grab ones from the top. So pretty much everything that I spoke of. And then equipment, I have my 2 POS systems. I have my air pillow and air or bubble wrap machine. That was a couple $100. A shredder, and 5 TVs up on the wall that act as my menu board. All that stuff totaled to $19,000. That's for the countertops and everything, and all the cabinetry and whatnot. That is just the price of lumber. I didn't add in the price of like my time, because I'm not a carpenter, so I don't know what my time's worth. But definitely, if you're wanting to get your startup costs accurate, I would recommend having a really good idea of like what all you're going to want in your store, and speak to a contractor or just a carpenter to figure out how much it would cost total between lumber and man hours and everything to have your store built out the way you want it. So mine's on the cheaper side just because I didn't have to pay that labor hours or anything like that. So that's about where I was at, $19,000 for FF&E. Initial box stock. So I went a little too crazy with the initial box stock. You can see I got a pretty good variety there. I bought mostly 25, they could just call it a bundle, but 25 boxes are in a bundle. So I bought over 100 different size bundles. Just wanted to be able to have a good variety for my customers when we start, and Christmas is coming up right around the corner. So I wasn't really too worried about having to sell boxes, because I'm sure we're going to be moving a lot of boxes here in a couple months. So I went a little crazy, got a good variety. One question I get a lot is, why didn't I get my boxes through the carriers like the post office or FedEx? I do mention that in a few of my other videos. You can get the boxes through them, but they're labeled for those carriers, and they only come in a few sizes. They don't give you the generic different size boxes. They only give you like their priority mail boxes or their flat rate boxes, envelopes and stuff like that. You can only get those, and anyone can go get them or can get them online. They get mailed to you. So they're not hard to get, but you can only use them for that service. You'll get in trouble if you try to charge people to buy them, because they're supposed to be free. And what else? You'll make more money if you just have your own boxes here. You can get them, the carrier boxes, to have just in case someone asks for them, but I definitely would just stick with your own boxes and make profits off of your own boxes. All right. And up next is initial packaging material. So I got a good amount of tape. The rolls of air pillows and bubble wrap I kind of added in here too. They're not super expensive. I got that because it just is so small, and instead of buying giant boxes and rolls of each, I just got that machine, and it works well so far. And it's definitely cheaper and saves a ton of space. So if you're getting a smaller size store, definitely consider it. They sell them on Amazon. I can link it if anyone wants to. There's a few different models. You basically just put the roll on there, let it heat up, and set your air pressure, and then it just goes through and makes like 100 in a few minutes. So It's pretty cool. So up next, what do we got? So there's a few of them here, but 6 months cost. So this is what I added into my store. Again, yours might be higher depending on how you negotiate your lease and everything like that. But I wanted to have a 6 month buffer. So I have 6 months of time to be able to, get my store a good amount of foot traffic and a lot of consistent foot traffic. So that was my buffer that I set. And you can see here, I did how much my software costs for 6 months, how much my other fixed costs are, and then my lease payments are 0. I left the space for anyone who purchased the template to add in their lease costs. I negotiated to not have lease costs for 8 months from when my store started. So I got lucky with this location, I will admit it. But yeah, I don't have any lease payments, so I have a 0 there. If you do, you don't have to add that in. But I would recommend it because it is hard to get people in your door to start. And I'm going to have a video Friday, since this is my first week. I'll have a video that I'll walk through my first week and show all the business we've had so far and, what's been good, what's been bad and whatnot. So those are my fixed costs. This is specifically to me, my store marketing budget. So I had that to be able to, get some ads on Google, get my listing up, my website up higher to start, stuff like that. Definitely want to set a little budget aside. And then I also included my window signage in there, which I probably only spent a few $100s on, but I haven't spent all 2,000 of it, of the marketing budget, but I have it in there to start. So storefront sign, more expensive than I thought. Mine is 10 feet wide by 4 feet tall. My landlord required a lot of specific stuff. It's more like fireproofing, which costs a little bit more. Your landlord may not, but my sign was $6,000 to have them permit it, actually make it, and them install it. So it was $6,000 for everything. And it's just my logo. You've probably seen the logo if you've seen my videos, but it's really just my logo in a 10 foot by 4 foot tall sign, essentially, that lights up at night as well. So that's that. Again, 6 months lease payment. We don't have any office supplies. So this is basically kind of all the knick-knacky things that you're going to want to have on hand, like pens for customers to use. You stapler, scissors. I'm looking at all my stuff. I also added in like buying extra labels and printing paper in there. They're not expensive at all, but just having that in there. What else? Like notepads, sticky notes, all that kind of stuff to hang on the wall, to hang like flyers and everything you could think of. I spent around $1,000. You could spend less or more, I don't know, but that's just where I was at. And then I left a few gaps here for anything else you might want to add, or for anyone who purchases the template. And then down here, initial capital. This is just what I wanted to have in my business bank account the day we opened and after we had already spent all of this money. So I wanted to have a good buffer. I originally thought I was going to hire somebody pretty quickly. I'm not thinking that's the case yet, but I definitely want to get someone in the pretty near future and get them all trained up before the holidays, probably 2 people. So this budget here is mainly for that. And then just having a nice round number, you could do 2,000, it doesn't matter, but having a little bit of a budget left over, a nice round number to start your business bank account after everything has been purchased is where this initial capital comes from. And then definitely important to add unforeseen costs. There's things I missed. I know I dug into that a little bit. I locked myself out once, and the locksmith was not very friendly with their price to let me back in. And what else have I spent money on? Licensing, stuff like that. I forgot to add that in there. So licensing was only a few $100s, but like getting your business formed in your state and your actual business license, notary. If you want to do notary, I should have added that in there. That was a couple $100s. I'm trying to think of what else I spent. But yeah, just I definitely didn't spend all 3,000 of it, but that's what I set my budget for just anything I might have missed and any little thing that was specific for my store that I wanted to get. So, or like a water cooler. I bought like a water cooler that does Keurig cups too, which is pretty cool. I kind of splurged on that, but I would kind of put that in unforeseen. Just random stuff you might miss. That's why I have that in there. So for me, my total startup costs came to $64,800. But again, this is money I'm going to have in my bank, which is probably overkill. So really, all I actually spent out of pocket to open my store was $54,800, and it wasn't even that much because I haven't spent all of this or all of my marketing budget. So, um, I would say if there's definitely ways you could cut costs. I didn't really need to buy all the boxes I did, but I just knew my store was going to be opening. Christmas would be here. I just was ordering them, and it is slightly expensive to have them shipped. So I just wanted to get as much as possible right away. Um, Leasehold improvements, you probably, unless you're pretty picky about how your store looks. My store looked fine. It was just white and the paint was fine. There's a couple holes I could have just patched and saved $1,000, just kind of leaving it as is and just patching. But I did all the painting and a few other things. Probably could have saved some money there. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I did pretty good. I probably also could have spent a little bit more making my like countertops nicer and whatnot, but I was just going bare bones to start, and it's pretty easy for me to upgrade in the future if I need to. So, um, what else are we missing from here? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I also have the 4 mailboxes coming in that falls under the FF&E. It's broken out here. So my 4 sets of 60 mailboxes are supposed to be here in the next day or two. It got delayed a bunch of times, but that also falls in there. So pretty much everything you see here and everything in my store, if you've watched the videos, I was right around 52, 53,000. And I did save a little bit from some of these, and I still have that $10,000 of initial capital in my bank. So where the template kind of comes into play is you can break out how much you're going to be spending out of pocket and how much you want financed. And then you just want it to equal your startup costs. And then this really plays into the template because you're able to see your financing and how much the loan actually costs. So there's that same number it populates over. In the general assumptions, you add the interest rate that they do for SBA loans, stuff like that. And you can populate how much your payments will be. The banks will want to see that if you are going to need financing. The banks will want to see that to know that you understand how your costs of getting the loan through them plays into like your monthly forecast and everything like that. So that's why I built this. I hope it saves people some time. Again, it's for sale for $25. Just email me if you're interested in it at postalprospackandship.com. But other than that, I just wanted to make this kind of quick because people were asking a lot about my startup costs, and I just wanted to dive in and say, this is what I spent, 64,800. I still have this 10,000 because that's what I'm starting with in my account after I've built everything. And yeah, I mean, there's some other options. There's a few people have emailed me about mega store builders. They have some packages to fully build out your store for you. It's an option. They are kind of pricey, but it is like a one-stop shop, which is cool. They literally set your store up, and all you would have to do is learn how to use the systems and get going. So, sorry, someone's walking in. Oh, no, we're good. Okay, so yeah, it is kind of like a one-stop shop. If you go through Megastore Builders, the other option might be a little bit cheaper. Is just finding a good contractor in your area or a carpenter if you want to kind of go with wood and get them to quote you on your ideas of how you want to build out your store. So again, you'll probably be a little bit more expensive than me just because I didn't have labor hours. So definitely keep that in mind if you're looking at my startup costs. I wish I could give more accurate costs for man hours. The only thing I could say is that realistically, by myself, I probably could have actually built out the store, and the countertops took me a couple days. The TVs and the grid walls took me a few hours. The box storage took me maybe half a day. I mean, I could do it in a week. So 40 hours of a contractor doing the work for you. $100 an hour. Hopefully, maybe you're just $4,000 or $5,000 more than where I'm at. It depends how much they charge. But that's my best guess. Everything else should be pretty accurate for you because you're going to be ordering it yourself and whatnot. But yeah, at least it's, far cheaper than doing a franchise. Franchises, the big name franchises, you're going to be $250,000 to $400,000 to get a store open through them. So if you can keep it under $100,000, you're doing pretty good. So, yeah, that's about it. If anyone has any questions, again, email me. My email is postalprospackandship@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions for other videos you want me to make, please let me know. Thank you.